All right, man. So apparently we have Jalen Duren. Okay, so this is the rumor that's going on. Now somebody will say, "Well, you hear the rumor that the Pistons wanted to trade up for Yaxel Lindenberg?" Hey, just hit the Google search, homie. Just hit the Google search. It'll show you. I got it from Wilbur Sports, and they lead their sources here. There is expected to be a huge gap initially in the contracts, with Detroit Pistons are willing to offer in the contract Jalen Duren wants, and obviously it is that. I mean, it's rare that you come to the table. Let's just use, Jack Campbell, for example. It's rare to say, hey, man, I want 25 million. Okay, we give you 25 million. Even if that's the case, hey, this going to be guaranteed, or we going to put this in the contract, or I want that morality clause. There's going to be some friction there. That's why your agent is there to be the bumper, and that's kind of where the Lamar Jackson contracts went north or went south at, because his mother was his agent. So she's running back, telling him everything that the team is saying, where your agent is not going to tell you everything the team is saying. He's just going to tell you the shit. Hey, man, we're going to work through it. They keep keeping it not most of the time, very vague. Now, if it gets to the point where you're not getting what you want, then the agent got to keep it real. Hey, they don't think you ain't shit. They don't want to fuck with you like that. We got to keep it moving. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. Check out Detroit Pistons Top Players, more videos like this. Ryan said, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. That's what it is. But there's another thing in there that I got in there too for him. I mean, some people saying they should sign him, and some people saying they shouldn't sign him. But this is the other thing about it, and I think everybody already knew this. And they ain't new to this because you knew this. An anonymous Eastern Conference executive on Jalen Duren potentially getting the max contract. If he wants to get the max, they'll tell him to go get one. But he's Cade's guy, so they will have to play it the right way. So there you have it. There you have it. Cade is locked in, but guess what? There, Gilbert Arenas, said something very key that we always like, damn, that Nike probably gonna want to get him out of that market. So guess the best way to do it. If you get rid of my boy, I'm unhappy now. I potentially want to get out of there. And that might be the case. Or he might understand, look here, man, for us to get us to the next level, we can't pay you and him that money. But I'll tell you what we do, Playboy. Hey, man, we're going to sign and trade him. We're going to get a couple other pieces. Hey, look here, we're going to bring this guy in and that guy in. And, that's what you and Nassar and Isaiah Stewart, y'all going to be it. I'm just throwing some shit out there. We're going to bring in, Kawhi. We're going to bring in Trey Murphy with that money. We gonna bring Malik Beasley back if he clears his case. If not, we go out there and get you, Norman Powell and and we gonna rock and roll, baby boy. That's what we gonna do. Okay, on me. What they saying on me? That's what we gonna do. So when you got a plan for it, you got a plan for it. Oh, who you like? Oh, look, this is the guys we picking from Kyrie, KD, Trey Murphy, Laurie Marketing, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. I'm just throwing names out there. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Niggas, you mispronouncing? I don't care. I'm just joking. I know it's Giannis Antetokounmpo or something like that, right? I got a pair of his shoes in there, the only good looking pair. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they might ask him who he prefer or something like that and, keep it moving. But, I mean, shit, it is what it is. The biggest fear is not moving him, and losing Cade. I mean, ain't the biggest fear. The biggest fear is moving him. I'm going to tell you more fear. That's feared more than that is moving him and him going to be worth that max contract. I think he get over the playoff walls. I think out of the guys that you plan to be better shooters, Asar, Ryan, and him, I think he got the best potential to shoot the ball better than those guys. I'm talking about from 3, just 10 to 15 is what you need. Foot from him. All right? That's all you need from him. And then also thing you fear is moving him and you not getting Cade input about who he want to play with or who he going to move him for. You know what I'm saying? I think that's also a fear too. That's also a fear too. Because now you got a irritated Cade, and if you don't win and not get his 2 cents, now if you win and get his 2 cents, hey, you good, you win the game. Yeah, you win the game. But in general, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, for the most part. Depends how you play it. Because remember, you pay him that $287 million, or you say, hey, man, go get what you can go get. He go get it. You pay him. You can say, go see what you can go get, and we'll pay you. You know, you can say that. You know, you can say, go get what you're going to get, and we can sign and trade you. You can say that. You know, but fortunately, you know, they got options. They got options. Of course, when you start off a contract, when I'm eligible to get $287 million, ninja, I want my $287 million. Ain't nobody in here gonna say, oh, I ain't worth it. No, you earn that right. You make all NBA team. We was talking about that in the gym. I say, hey, he gonna make all NBA team. You know, I knew that. That was common sense. But he earned that right. And if somebody gonna see him at 22 years old and they want to pay him, either you pay him or you sign and trade him or you let him walk. That's it. But if you let him walk and that's Cade guy, you better have a plan. And whatever that plan is, if you run it by Cade ear or you go over his head or under his ears, it better work. It better work. It better work. It's better work. That's all you can say. It better work. It better work. And if it don't work, you know, regardless, Cade probably gonna be out of here. With his input or not his input. So that's life. That's life. That's life. So it's all decisions. And people in hindsight will judge you. We know that too well when it comes to drafts. We know that well too well when it comes to these drafts. Oh, they should have did this, or we should have did this, or we should have did that, or we should have, you know. It's life. In hindsight, it's decisions that I did or didn't make in hindsight that damn. But all you try to do is try to have that foresight. You try to have that foresight next time when you make decisions. You know, when you get in situations and you end up in situations, you try to say, you know what? Next time I want to try to see that coming, or when I have these situations, I need to try to see that coming. I need to be wary of this behavior, or, you know, even when you're making life decisions, you weigh in the options. Even before the shit get wrong, you gotta have a plan. You gotta weigh every option. And sometimes you weigh every option in life that you can think of, and you know something happened that's you don't see coming, and you got to be able to pivot. But have a plan. That as a man. You know, as a woman too, but as a man, you got to have a plan. You have a plan A, plan B. You got to have a plan past Z, AA, BB, CC. You got to have 1,000 plans, as much as you can come up with. If this don't work, I'm gonna do this. If that don't work, I can do this. You don't want to be, you know, stuck in a position and you effed up and you don't have a plan. You didn't think of a plan. Now you gotta rob Peter to pay Paul, or so. You weigh all these options, and that's why Teresian Lane didn't get paid the big bucks. You weigh these options. But I'm telling you, you got to have a plan, bro. You got to have a plan. So, and sometimes we think worst case scenario in situations, you know, and we overkill. I'd rather be overprepared or overkilled than be underprepared. You know what I mean? Or eat some undercooked chicken. You catch what I mean? So, I think it's at the point if they continue to be far apart, you just tell them go get the bread. So appreciate y'all. Peace.